Hello, good morning. This is News Desk. I am FMR Adu-Boahene. Coming up this morning, mixed reactions to lawyer for former Director General of the National Signals Bureau, Samuel Atache's comment that his client may divulge top national security if that is what he has to do to defend himself.
Security matters in the public domain, and if he should respond to those matters, are they not going to turn around that he has breached his oath of secrecy and the rest of them?
We definitely would have a conversation on that. Also on our desk, railway workers will still be on strike, or they are still on strike, and we assess the impact on trade and commerce here on News Desk. And a little later, in some 24 hours, the first part of Joy News German Embassy climate talks will take place. We've got these plus some business update on our desk. Do stay for details. Welcome back. This is News Desk as usual. I'm FMR Adu-Boahene. In our first story, lawyer for former Director General of the National Signals Bureau, Samuel Atache, says his client, FMR Adu-Boahene, will be forced to divulge top national security secrets if that is what he has to do to defend himself in the ongoing criminal trial. He's been interacting with legal affairs correspondent Lateef Idrisu after a court order for prosecution to file witness statements on or before May 26th.
The trial judge, His Lordship Justice John Eugene Nyandu Nyante, inquired from the Attorney General, who was represented by his deputy, Justice Shremsine, whether or not they have secured the witness statement. If you recall, the Attorney General made a case that Mr. Adu-Boahene was attempting to interfere or compromise a potential witness, if you like, and that is the reason why he was put in or on remand for 7 working days. So the judge sought to ask if indeed the Attorney General or prosecution for that matter had secured the witness statement from that witness, which Justice Shremsine responded in the affirmative. Now when he did that, then the judge said now he expects an expedited trial because, quote unquote, persons' liberties are in contention. Those were the words of the trial judge. And so the Deputy Attorney General told the court at that point that Mr. FMR Adu-Boahene is actually on bail because the 7 working day that was given had run out. But then at the tail end of it, after the trial judge has set May 20th as a deadline for the submission or the filing of disclosures and witness statements, and then adjourned the case to the 26th, lawyer Atache got on his feet and made a curious statement to the judge. He said that his client was rearrested, referencing Mr. FMR Adu-Boahene. But then he retracted that because that is not before the trial judge. Mr. Atache, when you said Mr. Adu-Boahene was rearrested, what exactly did you mean?
Well, the judge, at the last sitting, the judge ordered that he should have his freedom yesterday. And they said they have another matter that they are investigating concerning him. So when he was supposed to have his freedom, by their calculation, they released him midnight and then rearrested him on the basis of the newfound matters they were looking at.
Lawyer Atache also threatened that his client, Mr. FMR Adu-Boahene, would be forced to disclose top national security secrets if that is what he has to do to defend himself in the ongoing trial.
Are they pushing national security matters in the public domain? And if he should respond to those matters, are they not going to turn around that he has breached his oath of secrecy and the rest of them? You can't slap a man twice. It's unfair.
Lawyer Atache, are you suggesting that when you use your own phrase, when push comes to shove, he will divulge national security secrets? to defend himself?
He has no choice, because why should a man be found guilty when he's innocent and when he's dealing with national security matters?
He also explained why some information or letter written to the National Security Coordinator at the presidency found its way in the space of social media and some other traditional media.
It was unfortunate that it leaked, because the letter was intended for the National Security Coordinator, in which he was trying to let him know that where he is, national security matters are being raised. And he should come to terms with it. That's what he was trying to do.
Now, when Deputy Attorney General Justice Srem stepped out of the courtroom, I asked him what he makes of the orders issued by the court and the statement made by lawyer Atachia. This was what transpired. Counsel, any comment on the direction by the court? So the substantive case has been adjourned to May 26th, but the prosecution is expected to file their disclosures and witness statement by May 20th from the court complex. Latif Idris reporting for Joy News.
Well, let's speak to Dr. Victor Doke. He is a security analyst and a lecturer at the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center. A little later as well, we shall be talking to Professor Kwejo Epiaje-Tua as well. He is Associate Professor at the School of Law, University of Ghana. But we'll start with the security analyst as well. And thank you for joining us this morning, Doc. Tell us, how dangerous is it, or even so, if it's not dangerous at all, for national security documents or such important information be disclosed to public?
Well, thank you very much. With regards to what has happened, the matrix that the gentleman has put out, one, this is a narrative of what happened. Details of major aspects of the matrix are not out yet. However, when you talk about national security, one of the statistics to measure the performances is in relation to how transparent and accountable the said institution is to the public. Okay? Because you remember it's taxpayers' money that is being used to run the operations and whatever. So if you have a case such as this, and the said gentleman says, i.e., so amount was used for A, B, and C, we have what has come out in his narrative. Now, what can happen is that underground, the national security investigative bodies can then start doing their investigations and call all those who were related to the said operations, and then ascertain what actually happened. Was there any operations at all? When who benefited? Because we are talking about the quantity of funds that are used, i.e. against the threats that we face as a nation. However, with such documents coming out, does not necessarily mean that we are exposing the security agency. It is rather going to help structure and make that institution more resilient and independent, in that every loophole we block, and anybody who is found to have been perpetrating or involved in any illegality will be dealt with the law. Now, when you talk about the modus operandi of the national security itself,
right,
ideally, most of the operations are not known until it concerns the citizen directly or indirectly. So then, if you have a case such as this, and then receiving a case out there that I put funds into this operation, the onus now lies on me to name specifics. Okay, so that is what we are waiting for. But me putting out there doesn't jeopardize the activities and operations of the national security authorities. It doesn't at all. So now going forward, what actually went into the set operations and who benefited? And then we can do a structural analysis and a risk assessment before we can put out details. Okay?
Doc, if you can just reposition yourself so we can hear you quite clearly.
Is it okay?
Yes, yes, thank you.
Okay. So assuming I'm the one who put out such information, okay, I'm also looking at what I can get from each, director. What is my goal? What is my aim? But ideally, whatever I put out there, as I said, does not jeopardize the activities or modus operandi of the national security. I will then be called upon to give specific details, and then the investigative bodies will now follow up and do the investigations and ascertain who and who were involved and how much went into this and all of that. It is going to really help restructure the organization and make it more resilient. That's what I think. But it doesn't jeopardize the activities of the national security. Whatever has come out, the matrix that we have seen is what is out there. Now, if you have any other details, it is between them and then the national security apparatus to know which one can punish the areas of the security apparatus. If so, then we'll come to a consensus. If not, then the case will proceed after this.
Okay, Doc, we'll come to you again after I've engaged Prof on the legal aspects of it. And when we come back to you, we'll try and understand the precedent that these actions may set for us. And at what point, you have already told us that if it matters to the Ghanaians directly or the people directly, then we must extract what we can disclose. But at what point can we draw the line? But please hang in there. I want to go to Professor Kojo Appiah-Agyekua. He's Associate Professor at the School of Law. Let's get some legal education this morning. Many have said that he can't do that as a lawyer. His client cannot even advise him to do that. But under Ghanaian law, Prof, can a person or their lawyer advise them to disclose such documents when it comes to a push and they have to defend themselves in court?
Thanks for having me. I'm not sure the law allows anybody to say anything at all when it regards to it's with regard to national security issues. So the law, there are particular laws that should apply, and when it becomes necessary, of course, you have to balance the due process rights of the accused person or the defendant in the case with the larger interests of the society. And so, and in which context we're talking about national security. And so the law or the court should make sure that the rights of the accused person are not compromised simply in the name of national security. At the same time, the law doesn't lie in the hands of the defendant who used to work for the National Security Agency and the fact that he holds some important national security information to release it, because even the person may have sworn an oath to keep certain information secret in the name of national security or in the name of the security of the state. And the law is also clear that when it comes to certain situations, it is up to the Minister of Interior to authorize the release of certain information to certain ministries or to the court and so on. So it doesn't lie in the hands of the defendant to simply say that I would have the national security information. And if the situation is not clear, the matter may refer to the Supreme Court for the Supreme Court to make that determination as to what information can be divulged without compromising national security or otherwise.
Well, Prof, again, what about if it's happening in court? Divulging it publicly and also discussing it in court, will the law at least allow? And are there frameworks or are there some sort of, does it have limits? Is there anything that can be regulated when it's happening in court? That, well, because it's a case that's happening, I don't have a choice but to provide it. Can that happen in court?
It doesn't normally happen, and I'm sure the counsel for the defendant knows about that. So you cannot just divulge information. As I already said, there are procedures to follow, and he knows about it, and the lawyer will also know about it. So he cannot divulge any information at all. If at all, at that very moment that the information the defendant will want to disclose such information, they may approach the bench, and the bench may decide whether that information could be disclosed or otherwise.
Well, so far, could such action amount to a breach to Official Secrets Act? Say you have, so far, the documents that we've seen in public, whether he's the one or whether it happened during transmission, Could it amount to a certain breach so far?
It depends on the information.
Okay.
But it could amount to a breach, yes. And then it becomes a criminal act. And so in that situation, it will provide another basis for the prosecution to maybe prefer other charges against him.
Right. We'll come back to you, Prof. I'd go back to Dr. Adoke. Now, you were telling us that it's not really the way it should go in terms of security. But at what point, really, the doc has just been teaching us legally that even in court, you may have to approach the bench for them to decide that, well, this one, because of national security, we cannot divulge it. In this chain, what at all can a person who is facing such a trial divulge that will not amount to security breach? Doc, do I still have you with me? Yes, Doc, please proceed.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. So in the instance where that said covert operation involves lives, or in instances where the government of the day, in trying to neutralize the threat, okay, encounter collateral damages or even excesses, okay, that in itself cannot come out. Then, as Prof rightly said, it's the onus now lies on the minister, okay? They have to meet and know what actually has to come out and what not. But by and large, when this issue is going to proceed as he wants to, then it means what Prof said, sworn oath of secrecy. These are national security documents, information that should be kept in secrecy and found its way onto the media and circulated. Then it means you yourself would be. You would have to answer to the law. You breached. So it depends on the operations that have been done. But if anything is to go by, let's look at what he put on the matrix. This does not necessarily involve the operations examples that I've listed. It is operations, i.e., to counter threats, okay, in preparation towards any threat that we may see. Operations geared towards some group of political parties and all that. So this, I think, is something that can be dealt with. Now he has to just give specifics and then.
Would you say that so far there is some sort of dent on the credibility of national security activities so far?
Not entirely. It's regards to the individuals, those who we appoint to this position. And that is where politicization of institutions is very problematic. When you have people who, because of politics, are put in sensitive positions like this, they don't have the technical knowledge, they don't have the experience, they don't have the capacity to lead such agency, they are compromised. Then inevitably, then they come out with what expose, operations that shouldn't have come out. This is what we are trying to speak against, that we need independent, resilient institutions headed by technocrats who understand that the national security rules, you do not, even if your life is on the line, divulge secrets that can put the entire nation on its knees.
Prof.
So it depends on the individual.
Okay.
It's more of an individualistic problem than an institutional problem.
Okay. Prof, I'll come back to you. Then let's backtrack a bit. Let's go back to the point where the Attorney General addressed the whole country, or the media, I should say, knowing and given that this particular matter falls very much under national security. Would it be appropriate that the Attorney General spoke about it publicly, which will mean that this person may also want to respond in a certain way? That will mean that he's also divulging national security just because he wants to protect his image. Should we have started from media engagements in the first place?
Well, the Attorney General, as the chief prosecutor of the country, has certain rights as well as certain responsibilities. When it comes to giving out some information about a particular case that he is doing, he has a right to do so. But the question is, to what extent can he go? And when it comes to national security issues, the Attorney General actually is placed in a difficult situation because he has to have some dialogue with the security agencies. He certainly will do that, so that in the background they may determine what information will be deemed not sensitive or will not compromise national security if it comes out or if it is made public in the course of prosecuting the matter. So I'm sure the conversation would have been done behind the scenes. And it's possible that the defendant's situation may also have been discussed. I mean, in terms of the lawyer for the defendant, it's possible they may have had some discussions or engagement to know the extent to which certain information may not be divulged or not. And then they would then decide, this is the extent we can go in terms of this information that can be made public or not. And so to say that the defendant's reaction to divulge information is based on what the Attorney General said, I'm not sure that is really the case, because in my opinion, I don't think the Attorney General went beyond the remit of his powers in disclosing certain facts about the case.
Okay. I mean, given that this matter has become a public interest, and I understand that matters of national security are also treated in a very bespoke matter, but now that it's public interest, can we still proceed mindful of what national security regulations or laws would be? Or because now it's become a national interest, we should proceed by, giving it the same attention as we also require? For example, as you've said, the Attorney General knows when to not exceed his powers or not to exceed by providing very much information. But now that we're very glued and we're interested, shall we just let it be, or we should still allow it to proceed the way it's going so far?
We should follow the prosecution and the court will follow due process. The first place, as I said, not to jeopardize the rights of the accused person, but at the same, not to jeopardize national interest. So there is a balancing act here that the prosecution will make sure that it respects that balance, so that it wouldn't lead to the divergence of national security and at the same time compromising the rights of the accused person. And so the matter may be of public interest, yes, but national security is paramount here. And the extent to which that information is made public, if national security is compromised, it will end up affecting the well-being and the security of the public as a whole. So in that case, public interest will not be served by divulging national security information.
Prof, moving forward, the information that we've seen already, which is purported to come from him whilst he was in Iyoko, when he was still under the care of Iyoko, which we know that he's still been rearrested under the care of Iyoko. Should we just let it be, or the Attorney General owes us a duty of care at least to explain to us so far the information that we've seen? Mindful that, yes, it's national security information, but we've seen it already. Does he owe us any form of explanation on what we've seen so far?
Well, the information that has come out already, it needs to be weighed carefully, whether that information is credible, and even if it is so, to what extent it compromises national security. And so I think the jury is still out there, and probably at the appropriate time, the Attorney General's office will respond, or it may not at all, because of the weight that particular information, the weight of the evidence that particular letter and the content of it holds. So I'm not sure to that extent what some of the revelations coming out may not be true. At the same time, you can't take it face down. But I'm sure the Attorney General is working on it, and at the appropriate time, he will respond. So I think we should leave it as it is. But certainly there's a lot of issues relating to that, which I don't think compromises the Attorney General's case in any shape or form, because charges leveled against him do not seem to be affected by this revelation in the letter.
Right. Thank you, Prof. I'll take final words from Dr. Doke. And in addressing that, moving forward, how should the national security deal with issues such as this if we don't have laid down protocols already?
Yeah, so we need to look at our national security framework entirely. Now, the appointments of such people into sensitive places should be relooked at. So we don't have anybody at all because of political reasons, being appointed to sensitive positions. In that, if tomorrow we have the same issue of allegations of embezzlement, then the person would have to come out and say, I'm going to divulge what national security information, which shouldn't be. Now, the law should be such that anybody who tries to do that would face the full sanctions and even more stricter sanctions than anything else, so that we can have a very robust system. So that is what I think we should take a look at our national security framework.
Right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Doc. We've been speaking to Dr. Victor Doke. He is a security analyst and a lecturer at the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center. We also had Professor Kwejo Appiagyei, Associate Professor at the School of Law at the University of Ghana, discussing what many say that there has been a lot of brouhaha as to why FMR Adu-Boahene may want to divulge national security documents if that suits him. But away from that, trade and commerce activities have ground to a halt for patrons of Ghana's rail system. This follows a strike by rail workers. The workers are protesting unpaid salaries while asking for improved conditions of service. Collins Frimpong joins us with updates from Tema. Collins, yesterday you brought us how this started. Today we're in Tema. Give us an update what's happening in Tema.
The train that applies the Tema Accra railway line is now, and the train is idle due to the strike that the railway workers are currently embarking on because of their unpaid salaries. They are being owned by the railway company limited by 7 months, and also they are making a few demands including privatization. So this is the train that moves from the Accra and also come to Tema, use the Accra-Tema railway line, but because of the strike, it is here. The train is under normal circumstance, the train is supposed to be in Accra by this time, waiting for passengers around 5 p.m. Then it will bring them back to Tema. So the train moves from Accra, Tema here, then gets to Accra around 7 a.m. Then wait for passengers over there. And we will be speaking to a few people. But the impact of the strike, the indefinite strike action by the workers, we will be getting details from traders around this vicinity to find out how it is affecting their business. In terms of the passenger aspect, the passengers were informed on Monday when the workers announced their intention to embark on the strike. So majority of them were aware, but when we got here, we didn't meet any passenger yet. But the security officials here told us that a few number of them came around, and when they came around, they were quite frustrated because of the strike that the workers are also embarking on. You can see on my left is the train that moves from Tema to Accra and Accra back to Tema. Initially was on the Accra Nsawam railway line. Then it was moved to this place when this train on my right broke down. So according to the workers, this train on my right with the Ghana flag broke down 10 years ago, and it has not they've not been able to move it back on the tracks because of some pass that they cannot get them here in the country, and also where the tracks or the rail was manufactured was in China, and China has stopped producing this type of trains, so they are not getting the pass. That's why this particular train has been idle for more than 10 years, and Ghana has not been able to purchase a new one, so they need to come in with this particular one from Nsawam. So this train is the one that moves from Accra then Tema back to Accra. But the sad situation is that we can see the track itself, or the train itself is in a poor state, even though it has been functioning, moving around. But this train is in a deplorable state. But that people are not supposed to be using. But let's move around. We will be speaking with some of the traders there. Some of the traders that this morning they've been telling us that their businesses have been impacted seriously. So the train moves from this particular side, then uses this track, then go out. And also the information that we've picked also tells us that the new Tema Mpakadan train that was imported from Tema, that it was supposed to use the Tema Mpakadan railway line, has not, or they have been able to finish the maintenance work. But the situation is that because of fuel issues, the train has been idle also for 4 months, and that one is not far from here. It is just about 5 minutes walk from here. Then we will also see the new train. But first of all, let's engage some of the traders that are selling here. Mommy, good morning. Pacho, you're frozen.
I'm a cocoa.
I'm a cocoa na and your mom was saying.
When I never moon
Now, say Oton Adewa has say. Anka train workers no omo ye adwuma anka ne makoso ye situation at is am call strike and running the adwuma mu kosen
oh anyakra situation nye if say adwuma wo ho a wo ye adwuma me market no ye mam nkwafo ba ha bebre say wo betoko wo betwen train na kokko ne ye ready a nti dem ntimi so me ye ntem ama wo ba train be ye ready na wo edi megua fine e ba ne saa no enko ye kra Monday na me ntie say Tuesday over strike in Timin market and Monsieur Marty. In time, pass me bed in Metiso. By this time, the one come up on the dado, and yet, and you cry.
Because Omoko, and I'm so Moko striking into now, I'm for Emba passengers for Emba Nintino. What's it on your man?
And to Matiso. Why, oh, and Yanes Sano, to say, no dono. If it's an upon what be a man, son or Marco. Ama futre na akọ nti me ya na kase a wo be kọ nam so ma ton ade na ma edu baby ansa na ahafo no so astart so moto nti esa ni nti ya ba this time kama ponda da do me da wugina nti anye me da me kase sumpenifu no betena wa ye hu bibi ama wana anye 7 months wonti o kase ka o de anya kra ai da me na so aka me ebi say ama me so market akofum nti me so kakra mo wakan
passengers for anyone who say be around and come by the fruit train by buy na train
and the moment the na ebi no buy ebi no anti send da na wo buy pa and the ebi no buy ba wo be na oba ne sa no and da no omo enyanti nti ndadodo na amba biamba.
So MFA, what she is saying is that she is a seller. She sells porridge just around the railway station, and behind us is where the trucks have been parked. That we will be engaging some of the workers also here, and she tells me that businesses is moving on very slowly compared to the time that when the workers were working and people were coming in, she was making sales. But that's not the issue today. She has to reduce the prices or how she fetches the porridge for people or the buyers, and also making slow business or slow sales. And by this time she would have closed if the workers were around and people were boarding train, but now it doesn't look like she's going to close anytime soon. We have one of the workers here. Good morning.
Oh, FM Isaac don't come here. One of the security guard.
And they are not pay passengers for me by saying come by factory.
Okay, I no pay the nipa mi no bi na bi hu na so mba be futre but mba no. Already nankasa na nam yakatu ya wonsensem enko ye ntino ama ye ko demonstration kakra ntie mpanyifo ni nyina me ya wo se ene trenya de ya betu eye union for nyina ya wo ntimi ni se trade ene enya adwuma ntie ene na eno dan so trade anya adwuma ntino mba no me ya wo se enya de ya trade betimi akọ trade anya adwuma this week in case it trade anya adwuma mbati ni news ntino ene na me de me ka kire o ma o so
passengers in the Omoya way say more strike.
Nimu bibi but say me your worker. Ntino on say ya nya adwuma e wo under workers in your union ho. Nti union no na bia on be ma other media for na say nkɔfoɔ bɛte because when you adwuma sɛ menim sɛ ba wɔ but menim bɛ deɛ nti ananka wɔbɛfotere ebia na me ne wɔkasa na ansa na mekasa sɛ na madi me ankasa mpo no na madi kan atene wɔ news ɛwɔ Peace FM says yɛ mmom guarantee interview bi a yɛ one of the secretary branch secretary Mr. Kobra do ɔkasa ma nyinaa yɛte ba me security me deɛ ne sɛ maba adwuma de me ba adwuma security and defense mo na yɛ safety mo na nyinaa yɛ ba adwuma ntim deɛ the hands train drivers aba de si ama adwuma deɛ yɛ ama adwuma but security deɛ ntam bia yɛ wɔ ha nti ne yɛ amene me no yɛ wɔ ha yi yɛ wɔ ha nti deɛ ne sɛ yakatua na ɛma no ɛno nti na ɛma train yɛ dai ɛkɔm ɛma adwuma.
Thank you. So few people came around today, about 3 or 2/10 of people came around today that they wanted to board the train, but they couldn't because of the strike that the workers have embarked on. One of the security officials that we've been engaging earlier on here that we want to speak with. Your name again?
We'll still be bringing you fallouts from this particular strike from the Ghana Railway Company. But away from that, 45 Ghanaian students from diverse backgrounds have been given a lifeline in the educational journey by Relief and Aid International, which is sponsoring them to study health-related courses. President and founder of the NGO, Peggy Adu-Boahene, says that the organization is committed to ensuring access to health by all. Deputy Minister Dr. Clement Appiah assured that government will continue to work to make education accessible to all. There's more in this report.
Health education has become elusive to many from poor background due to how expensive it has become. Many who dreamt of becoming doctors, nurses and other health professionals have had to drop out at some point because their families simply couldn't afford to sponsor their education. This will not be the story of at least 45 students who will be sponsored by Relief and Aid International. President and founder of the NGO, Peggy Anna Ayikaili Adu-Boahene, says the organization will do all it takes to make healthcare accessible to more people.
Relief and Aid International is investing in young people as they are the ones who will shape the destiny of the community and the country. As Kofi Annan once said, quotes, healthcare is a human right. It is not a privilege to be reserved for the wealthy. It is a right for all. To ensure good health of all the citizens of Ghana, we need skilled doctors, nurses, paramedics, technicians, policy makers, and etc. To develop skilled healthcare professionals, we have sponsored 45 students in different institutions in Ghana. We are planning to sponsor more students.
Peggy Adu-Boahene says there will be more of such opportunities in the future.
These scholarships are blueprints. They are not about fulfilling the gaps alone, but about building strong and everlasting bridges that connect talents to opportunity, hardship to hope, and today's challenges to tomorrow's solutions. The theme of this ceremony, Beyond the Aid and Unveiling the Future, reminds us that education is not a handout, but a hands-up. An agreement forged in gold between society and its potential. To our beneficiary scholars, look around you. This moment is a testament to your resilience. You have navigated obstacles many cannot fathom, armed with nothing but determination and the audacity to dream.
Deputy Minister for Education, Dr. Clement Appiah, who spoke on behalf of the Minister, Haruna Idrisu, restated government's commitment to ensuring access to quality education across all levels.
Relief and Aid International has consistently demonstrated that non-governmental actors are indispensable in driving community development and educational empowerment. Through your scholarship interventions, you are not only removing financial barriers, but also igniting hope potential, and service-oriented leadership in the next generation. The Ministry of Education is open to further engagements with Relief and Aid International on knowledge sharing, research, and targeted support that strengthens learning outcomes, especially at the community level.
Now, away from that, joinees in partnership with the German embassy will be rolling out the first of a series of climate change-centered conversations dubbed Climate Talks, starting tomorrow, Thursday, 15th May. The maiden edition comes off at the Freeman Methodist Church, Jamestown, under the topic Clean Cooking. The initiative will create awareness on Ghana's nationally determined contributions and showcase the investment opportunities available for the private sector, while rallying community support towards implementation of policy action to achieve Agenda 2030. But why clean cooking and Jamestown? There's more in the following feature.
School for use gas.
Gas is the best for bread
na
bakers
and school children for domestic cooking, but it's not suitable for a large-scale fishmongering.
That will be very helpful, but the government must understand that this is what we do to feed our dependents. Introducing gas alternatives should not deprive us of our livelihood.
If we could get it in small quantities and pay in installments, we would start using it.
As of 2021, about 54.3% of households in Ghana still relied on solid biomass for cooking, with 31.1% depending on firewood and 23.2% on charcoal, often using inefficient, rudimentary stoves. Jamestown is one such community where large-scale cooking takes place, both commercially and domestically. It's famed for one of Accra's favorite dishes, kenke, and is also a hub for fishmongering, where traditional smoking methods give fish their unique taste and aroma. But these traditional cooking methods come at a cost to our health.
The firewood is affecting our health, especially my eyes.
Sometimes now the effects on your health and eyes are long-term. You will notice them in old age.
The Jamestown Slaughterhouse is a busy center for singeing cattle hides. Abralabi, one of the leaders at the site, shares his concerns about the intense heat and smoke, but explains why switching to gas isn't an option here.
The gas is more powerful than the tie.
We are being advised to use gas because of modernization, but gas overcooks the fish because of the intensity of the heat.
He's not alone in this view. An almost 90-year-old Babahana has worked here for decades, raising a family of 3 wives and 19 children in this business. He insists his regular medical checkups keep him healthy.
I see my doctor every 2 to 3 months. He tells me to eat well. I eat a lot of fruits. I take black tonics regularly too. As you can see, I am healthy.
He believes no alternative cooking solution would accommodate the scale of operations here, and fears some might even resort to crime if they lose their livelihood as a result of the transition to healthier cooking solutions.
There is no alternative job that can engage all these people here. They are likely to go and steal if you take this away from them. We have done this for years and we don't have any challenge. government cannot take care of every one of us here. That is not possible.
Nearby, Patience Tete and her fellow fishmongers who rely on traditional ovens fueled by firewood. Patience knows about gas stoves, but explains her preference for wood.
Where me use gas. I just said Jana, and I said attention say we being swa.
We can't use gas. We can only use firewood, especially when it comes to salmon. We prefer the golden brown look that comes after smoking. You can only achieve that with a traditional firewood oven.
Firewood consumption has been a major driver of deforestation. Over 90% of Ghana's original 8.22 million hectares of natural forests has been lost due to logging and firewood production. Increasing access to clean cooking solutions, particularly through LPG promotion, offers a strategic pathway to reduce deforestation, protect diversity, and mitigate climate change impacts. Sister Denswa, nearly 70, has been cooking kenke here for over 40 years with her sister. She said it's a family business and she inherited it from her mother. At the moment, she alternates her cooking schedule with her sister every fortnight. Their joint is one of Jamestown's most popular.
She was used to cook down. A dark as in or used to cook down. Or fair or fake already and be your okay now your DNA.
We have never used gas. It doesn't make sense to use both firewood and gas at the same time. But the gas is good.
No offense, what use sack and use gas. No beer name. What feko ni neko? She gas here ne bamona.
Household air pollution is responsible for approximately 16,000 premature deaths annually in Ghana, with 8,500 deaths in urban areas and 7,600 in rural areas.
Now remember to tune in exactly at 10 a.m. for the Jamestown conversation on clean cooking tomorrow here on Joy News and Asampa FM as well. Climate Talks is brought to you by Joy News in partnership with the German Embassy. Do make a date tomorrow. Do not miss it. Right now, though, stay with me. I'll go for a quick break. I'll be back shortly.
Welcome back to Business here on Newsdesk. My name is Winston Taki, and that's our first business story. The Ministry of Trade, Agribusiness and Industry, together with key industry associations, has agreed to implement significant price reduction on finished goods within the next 60 days, provided the Ghanaian cedi continues to strengthen against major international currencies. Following a brief meeting this morning, the minister announced that all participating associations have committed to lowering prices, noting that some importers have already begun reducing charges due to the cedi's recent appreciation. Addressing the media after the meeting, the Minister Elizabeth Ofosu-Ejare emphasized the importance of passing on the benefit of a stronger cedi to consumers.
The meeting has been very fruitful. It has been frank. We have stated that government does not have the power to control prices, but government has the power to negotiate with our stakeholders to ensure that traders, manufacturers, and consumers take advantage of an opportunity when it happens. I'm happy to inform you that the direct importers have agreed to reduce their prices, and some have already started that already. We've also heard from GUTA and AGI that it is good that the cedi has stabilized. They need a bit of time to let this reflect in their prices. It will happen gradually. The direct importers have started reducing their prices for the retailers, And this will be total when the old stock comes down. They are able to find an average from the new stock and the old stock, and prices will certainly go down. But this will be total in about 60 days. We hope that the city will keep doing well. We hope that all the indicators will even improve. And they are happy to let the general public and consumers take a benefit of the stabilized economy. Government has created an enabling environment for their businesses to thrive, and it is fair that they transfer part of the dividends to the customers, because we are all working together as a country so that the cost of living will reduce. I am happy that they have explained their bit to me and my team. We also explained ours to them, and this is the consensus.
The meeting brought together ministers and also associations who took part in that particular discussion. The Ghana Union of Traders Association, the Association of Ghana Industries, AGI, the Food and Beverages Association of Ghana, among others. Meanwhile, GUTO President Dr. Joseph Obeng assured the public of the association's full commitment to the agreement. He also urged the government to introduce additional policies that would help sustain the city's strong performance.
And we will do our job. We will respond positively. The market forces will determine the prices, and it will respond positively. We are in a highly competitive market. Most importers have started getting benefits of this, and most of them have started showing and sharing the benefit to the consuming public. You just have to search the market and you'll find this. But all that we need is for government to do its work, do whatever it is to sustain this, and by 2 months' time, everybody in the country will witness the fact that the business community also think about the consuming public. We depend on our customers, the consuming public, to survive as businesses. And there's no way we will not share any gains when we have it. When we have it, we will share with you.
One would say seeing is believing. Let's believe this will really happen, especially where the traders will comply with this directive by the trade minister. That's all for business here on NewsDesk. Back to MFR for the rest. MFR.
So much, and that'll be all as well for today on our desk. But I'll see you at 12 for JN Today, Joy News Today. I'm MFR Akosiadeti. While you wait, please visit myjoyonline.com for more stories. Thank you for watching.